First and foremost, this dream depicts a personal soul experience and memory of mine. Akin to the concept of reincarnation and past lives here on Earth, I believe a soul experience is something like a lifetime outside of this planet, dimension, or timeline. This concept can also be related to the term Starseed, but I believe the possibilities extend much further than having only experienced life on another planet. After receiving this dream and soul memory, I began to scour the internet for any mention of the Spades, or beings like them. So far, I haven't come across anything that resonates with what I saw. The closest I've come is a cryptid in West Virginia called the Flatwoods Monster, which is described as having a spade-shaped head, but that's where any resemblance ends. However, there's much more resonant information related to the environment of the Spades' home planet and their way of life when exploring Orion and Mintakan starseed traits and bits of history. The star Mintaka is located in the Orion constellation and can be observed as the third rightmost star in Orion's belt. Mintakan starseeds often mention memories of a watery homeworld and feel most at home in water-based environments. 2 years ago, after I had experienced this dream, I spoke with an individual who identified as a Mintakan starseed. They will remain anonymous here, and they recounted several memories of using watery portals to travel between planets and dimensions, a point of history in my dream. This individual also described feeling a kinship with dolphins, whales, and other sea creatures, and suggested that these beings travel between our world and others outside of our solar system via portals or vortices in Earth's oceans. While they personally didn't identify with my description of the Spades, we hypothesized that there could be multiple planets surrounding the star Mintaka, many of them almost entirely or exclusively covered in water. In my personal reflection, I feel like the Spades' homeworld was more ancient than what Mintakan starseeds tend to recall. Perhaps the Spades were the original conscious inhabitants of the Mintakan star system and learned a valuable lesson that they passed on to future inhabitants of the worlds they relocated to, carrying on their tradition of galactic exploration via water portals and vortices with greater caution. Moving on, let's briefly touch on Commander Ashtar. According to the internet, Commander Ashtar was the name of a being first channeled by a man called George Van Tassel in 1952. More recent discussions and views on Commander Ashtar depict him as the commander of a galactic fleet working with an entity called the Galactic Council, or the Galactic Council of Light, a governing body made up of multiple species and dimensional beings from across our galaxy. Feel free to do your own deep dive on that if it resonates. Others have different views. Kyle Gray, for example, identifies Commander Ashtar as an ascended master, a divine intelligence offering spiritual support, in his book Divine Masters, Ancient Wisdom. Bashar, an extra-dimensional being channeled by Daryl Anka, describes the Ashtar command as beyond any physical description or concept, and, therefore, cannot be understood by humans in our current form. All of this to say that there's a lot of information out there, and, as a reminder, it's important for you to take what resonates and leave the rest. In my personal reflection, I feel like Commander Ashtar is indeed a galactic being, though I agree with Bashar that he is beyond our current level of human comprehension. Since 2022, I have had several dreams, meditations, and other interactions with a being that resonates within me as Commander Ashtar, though I rarely receive any visual imagery to accompany his presence. He's more of a feeling and a sense of knowing in our interactions. I should note that I most often encounter him and his presence when traveling via OBE, or consciousness projection, aboard a large starship in orbit above the Earth. Finally, let's touch on the topic of dark matter and the manner in which Commander Ashtar's vessel moves through space, along a web-like structure of tunnels in a dimension beyond the physical. This is no longer science fiction. Astronomers have recently created a proposed map of the dark matter cosmic web, which is now suggested by NASA to be the backbone of the universe. In their own words, quote, Nearly 1,000 hours of Hubble observations similarly enabled an international team of 70 astronomers to create the first three-dimensional map of the web-like large-scale distribution of dark matter, end quote. Absolutely fascinating. There's always so much to look into whenever I experience these intensely realistic dreams and OBEs, and the rabbit holes are virtually endless. While it's not necessary for me to explore these experiences further, I tend to find a lot of joy, excitement, and a feeling of personal connection when I do, and that, to me, is what really counts.